Hello, Internet. My name is Chris, otherwise known as Critically Accursed, and I am the voice behind Riley Morheim. Now, I bet you're wondering why I called you here today. Gentlemen, this is the Podcast, where several strangers from across the internet are united in a world of legends, fantasy, and eldritch horrors. The stories we make are filled with intrigue, drama, and more memes than anyone could ever ask for. Come on, take a seat at our table and join the fun. I hope you brought your dice.
Okay, so last time on Dungeon Ball Z, y'all had gathered your stuff together, gone to the Travel Masters, Travel Master Skylar, gotten your insurance and paid to travel with the caravan, and we're being put in line near the back of the caravan as it began to set out, which takes a little while. Lark was kind of suspect for being very shady, but I think Riley had kind of come around to maybe he was jumping the gun. And then immediately after that, Adira creeped him the fuck out by staring at him for a really long time. But y'all were setting out, or beginning to set out from Stormbluff on your way to Starlight, which should be a 2 to 3 week trip, give or take. Given that it's raining, probably 3.
Now, if I remember correctly, we had set up passage with a caravan, right?
Yes, you are traveling with a caravan.
Okay. How's that coming along? How are my fellow caravaneers?
All right, so what they're doing right now, because the caravan is still in the process of leaving, it is a very long caravan.
Yeah.
The West Wind caravan is moving its way out of the city to the front end, but the motorcade is not the correct word, but I don't want to use the word caravan again. The caravan is, the front starts moving and the back has to catch up. So you're being positioned still as a latecomer.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like for you to make perceptions as to your neighbors in the caravan and general surroundings.
Absolutely. Just give me a second. Perception. I rolled a 10.
All right. I'll try and do some semblance of order to this. Riley, you next.
Yes. I got a total of 23.
Damn. Leaf, you're next.
Ooh, that would be a 21.
Barack.
Oh, wow, 24.
Adira. I'm gonna take the first one because you double tapped.
Oh, I double clicked it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No problem. You got a 20. So what does our shy boy Foresight get?
He gets a 5, as he should.
He's just hiding. He's burying his face into Mozart the donkey.
It's rather difficult to see around you when you've got a cloak covering most of your face.
Fair. All right. So, damn. All right. So we'll go with Lark because he's the first one to see anything, and this is you doing your intent of checking out. This is you and your intent of checking out other people in the caravan, what they're doing. A couple of caravan a couple of carts in front of you. There's a man with a very heavily laden looking cart. It's a little old, a little frail looking. He seems to be checking his cargo prior to having to get it moving. Right in front of you appears to be a simple sort of like cart for transporting people, and it's got a mixture of folk in there, all tidying up and making sure everything's tied down and covered. And behind you is a rickety little cart with just one man, one horse. It's not covered properly like your cart would be. It's just got a tarp stretched over it. So it's very expectant. There's nothing super out of the ordinary. Now, actually, would you like to do or say anything after that?
Rickety old man, like, what does he look like he's carrying around with him?
You want to go inspect his cart?
Well, not like inspection mode, right? But I mean, like, I'd sort of like go by and see what kind of merchant he is, if a merchant at all.
He has various crates, boxes, bags. In the back, nothing is extraordinarily exposed. But you can tell that he's probably carrying a heavy load because he has not one but two donkeys pulling his cart.
Okay. Does he look particularly shady? Like what kind of person does this old fellow look like? Particularly jovial, reserved?
I'd say reserved. He's not shady looking. He's just kind of surprisingly old.
Okay.
Like he's an old thin man with not a lot of hair on his head.
Okay. I would approach him.
Okay. While you're approaching him, Riley, Leaf, Brock, and Adira all see off a ways behind the caravan an altercation starts. You see it through the rain as you're getting settled into place in the caravan, and it looks like a couple of grown men assaulting either a child or a halfling at this distance.
That just won't do.
Yeah.
Now, when you say assaulting, are they like physically beating him?
Like they're grabbing him, picking him up. He's struggling against them, and they're starting to drag him away.
Where are they dragging him to?
Not like towards an alley or anything. They're dragging him down the street.
These men, are they dressed like guards that are going along with the caravan, or are they regular people?
They're regular looking folk.
Oh, well then without hesitation, running over.
Yeah, that seems like something that should not be happening.
Agreed.
All right.
Now, I do not notice this altercation, but would I notice my compatriots rushing towards something, or am I too far down the caravan to notice this at this point?
Go ahead and roll me a second perception.
I will do that for you. I rolled a 13 on my second perception.
You would certainly notice your compatriots start to run towards the back of the...
Okay, in that case, I would probably pivot and go see what's going on.
All right, so you run after them. Adira, what are you doing?
If this person looks like a child, I'm definitely going to help.
All right.
She's kind of got a soft spot for kids.
All right. So you all go running by. Trey, go ahead and have Foresight make another perception too.
I will do that. A 7 this time. That's correct.
Oh, while you have no idea what's going on, you would certainly see your fellows, including that damn jerk Riley Moorheim.
Hey! I resent that.
Whose hair has saved a table for you, running off towards the back of the caravan past you.
It's interesting that he resents but doesn't deny. No, I'll go back there. This seems somewhat urgent.
You all abandon your cart, unless somebody doesn't.
It's okay. We have insurance. No worries.
Somebody steals it. They were like, caravan hasn't left yet. We're not on duty. Fuck you.
Well, with this urgent movement, someone may need healing.
All right, so you head off in that direction. These people are not running. They are moving at a steady pace, dragging what you do quickly come to find as a child. Dragging him away. They've lifted him up, kind of have him in, not an arm bar. What's it? A Nelson? Have him in a Nelson?
Well, the moment Adira can see that is a kid, she gonna raise her voice and be like, unhand that child now.
Go ahead and give me an intimidate check.
Oh, that will be interesting because I don't think I have that.
The donkey is watching the cart.
Oh, okay. So I rolled well. I got a 21.
You did roll very well. Your voice booms out, cutting through the rain, a very daring and threatening tone to it.
Like her hands are probably glowing. She's ready.
These two men dragging this kid. One of them like has his feet, and the other one's got him in the Nelson. They both look very afraid, especially at your magical display. The kid seems to be struggling. Everybody go ahead and make another perception, please.
18?
Lark also rolled an 18.
Leaf got a 21. Blackjack.
I also rolled an 18.
Riley has 15.
I am coming through with a solid 7.
Okay, so everybody but Brock would notice that this child is attempting to grab something in like the fold of his tunic. He's not really saying much. He's not shouting or screaming. He's grunting and showing signs of effort. But he seems to be attempting to make this reach. One of the guys who was like looking back, kind of frightened, notices him and kind of like yanks on his legs and is like, "Stop that!" And the other one's like, "Look, wait, you don't understand. This kid's a thief.
Thief or no, he's still a child. Unhand him."
He's too damn slippery. We're gonna take him to the guards."
Excuse me, friends. What was the child attempting to steal from you?
"He took me damn coin purse."
Did you get it back, I'm assuming?
"Oh, I've got it back."
Riley, as he's talking, is going to keep approaching so that he can get, within about 10 to 5 feet of these two. And as he gets up there, he's going to start addressing the kid to see if the kid can at least understand him or talk back by saying, "Excuse me, child, is what these men that are manhandling you say, is that true?"
He kind of looks your way, and I need you to make a perception check.
I also want to say, just as they're doing this, I'm assuming I'm sort of like charging in a little bit later than everybody else. I'm sort of circumventing the entire area, and I'm making my way around the periphery.
All right, go ahead and make a stealth check.
Yes, sir.
Riley's perception was a solid 9.
Lark's stealth was 14.
All right. So, Riley, you don't notice much other than he continues to struggle slightly. He does look at you, and then kind of just like looks slightly angry and begins to twist and turn and try to break free. They're not paying particular attention. You would notice, Lark, that one of them does catch notice of you and is like, he like keeps primarily paying attention to what's happening over by him, but he is like glancing back towards you now and again.
That's fair. Of note is I'm not being like super like crouched down with like crochet needles in hand in a threatening manner. I'm just, kind of like sort of like making my way through the crowd to get to the other side.
You are not Khajiit?
Yeah.
No, he's not Skyrim sneaking.
I'm still trying to remain unnoticed, so that the guy definitely would have kept note of me. It's just I'm also not trying to be super suspicious. I don't know if that's part of the equation there, but I just
So like Assassin's Creed, moving through crowds?
Must have just been the wind.
So Riley's going to address the men once again by saying, "It does seem like he's giving you a bit of a bother. Perhaps you would like to not waste your time and have us report him to the guards, bring him to the guards. On your behalf, of course."
Make a diplomacy or a bluff, whichever is more appropriate.
I'm going to go with diplomacy, playing off the nice guy angle, not really trying to deceive them. And that diplomacy is a 22.
So the guy's like, looks at the other guy and he's like, you know, that wouldn't be too bad. And like right at that moment, neither of them notice, but you can go ahead and make a perception.
I love this skill. 18.
You don't notice until it happens that the kid like is able to like get his arm just slipped away enough. He reaches into his tunic, he pulls out like a kitchen knife and just stabs this guy in the leg. He shouts out and drops him, and the kid begins to run kind of towards your group, but like tries to dodge around you. Do you want to attempt to do anything in this moment?
If it's up to Riley's first reaction is to try to like funnel the kid towards our tree if the tree followed along.
Yeah, oh yeah, the box is definitely alongside us.
All right, go ahead and make me a bluff check, a feint.
Yeah, I'd love to. Let's do it. Okay, well, that's a 10.
So 10. All right, so he's able to do kind of dodge around you and doesn't really head for box.
Oh, I should have my weapon out. That would have provoked. Damn.
Oh no.
All right, so he's going to head a little more over towards Adira.
Adira will put herself between the kid and the men.
All right, so you step in the way. He kind of runs behind you, but he does try to keep going. Brock, you have Cestus and can make an attack of opportunity.
Could I attempt to either grapple him or stop him instead? Like, I mean, I don't want to beat the kid, but I'd like to stop
you
him.
can attempt to trip him.
Seems kind of more aggressive than I want to.
Like
Right,
you
now
don't
we're
you
the
don't
bad
have to like bar him and make him face plant. Like you can reflavor your trip. You're just trying to get him prone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to prevent him from running away from us too, because I would like to get this solved. So I'll just do a trip, I guess, if that fits.
Bull rush him.
Ooh, I get so much to this. 14.
You will trip him.
Okay, yeah, just kind of as he runs past her, he'd probably be trying to grab him more, but just as soon as he realizes he can't, he'd probably just try and kind of put a leg out and just kind of stop his movement, which would probably just make him fall to the ground.
Okay. What is Foresight doing in this moment?
Well, someone was stabbed. Even if it's not a serious wound, it's a wound still. It's my duty to heal wounds. If I can just go over there and patch
Right
that
next
up.
to your best buddy.
Hey, bud.
Oh. Okay.
Are you just not going to heal him because I'm here? What kind of oracle are you?
No, you're right. Yeah.
And he's like screaming, and like the other guy tried to run after him, but Riley was kind of in the way. And he's not nearly as dexterous.
While Foresight's healing him, I'd like to talk to the two men and just try to smooth the situation over by telling them that my allies and we have the kid handled now. They don't need to worry about anything. I'll remember what they look like in case I need to direct the guards back to them for questioning or something.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a diplomacy check, because the one is very, very pissed about being stabbed.
That is fair.
But you do heal him completely.
Yeah. Foresight will simply chant a very make a small chant, holy, all and celestial, of course, and then lay his hands upon this man, and the wound will be no more.
And Riley gets a 15 diplomacy.
All right, so the guy kind of grumbles and hope the gods fucking rough him up, and kind of goes to step, make sure his leg doesn't hurt. He nods his head at you, Foresight. He's like, thanks. Come on, let's go. And he kind of jerks his head to the other guy, and they they head off.
As they head off, Riley turns to Foresight and says, "You know, you and I, we make a good team. I'm going to talk to you more as this journey progresses."
All right, what are Leaf and Box doing in this moment?
So prior to the trip, I was going to see if I could get Box to fetch the kid before he ran off, but since he's essentially pinned down, I'm just gonna step to bar his path, and I'll like, what have we fluffed the trip to? Is he just kind of being held, or is he like actually on the ground?
He's on the ground. He's tripped.
Okay, so Leaf will just gingerly take a step over and kind of use his quarterstaff to help himself lower him to the ground, and he's just kind of take a knee and just start trying to talk to the kid. He's gonna say, excuse me, son, if you were stealing, you must have some sort of reason. I'm sure we could reach an understanding here if you'd only explain.
Go ahead and give me a perception.
Oh, I'm gonna get stabbed.
He's stealing from you two.
Oh no. Kid's just a stabbing machine.
And he looks nervous and aggravated. But he doesn't say anything. He kind of does that like thing and like kicks his head to the side. And he go ahead and make a sense motive check.
Okie dokie. Bam. That's a 15.
He looks like he's eyeing that little gap to your right. He might be trying to kind of break and make a run for it.
Okay.
Would I be able to see this too?
Go ahead and make a perception and a sense motive.
18 perception, 16 sense motive.
All right. So your sense motive would definitely kind of eye this too. You would also notice that from your angle, you're able to see something. He has like a kind of like a simple cloth hat on, like more like a bandana, but it's technically a hat. And it's covering his ears, but you can just make out the faint outline of his ears being like pressed against his head from this thing. And he has very long ears, and he might be an elf.
And
Okay.
I didn't catch that, did I?
No, you didn't.
Oh, bummer.
Would I be able to do anything in response to seeing him wanting to dart? Like, would I have time to do like a standard action equivalent?
You will. You can ready an action, yeah.
Okay. One thing I want to do is I have an ability to create a 10-foot radius around me of difficult terrain. So if he starts to move, I'm going to do that. So it just makes it harder for him to get away.
Okay. So you kick that up, and like when he goes to stand up and run, he'll provoke from Box, Leaf, and Brock.
I don't have an opportunity to say anything more to him before he bolts, do I?
Not in this very moment.
Gotcha.
Man, I still don't want to beat the kid.
So if I wanted Box to grab the kid as a part of, the provoked attack, would I need to issue a command?
Yeah, but you can do that. That's like a pushing your companion as a move action, but I think just like going, hey, do this.
You're like, grab
is
him.
a free.
Okay, so that's a handle animal then?
Wild empathy.
Okay. So it's a d20 plus level, so it's a d20 plus 2.
Plus charisma, I believe.
Yep, that's plus level plus charisma, so that's a total of plus 2. That's a 9, so I probably didn't get very far with him.
You tell him to like grab him, and he starts to dance a little jig.
Perfect. And
Staying alive.
I'll just see if I can't, from my like kneeling position, just kind of stick the end of my quarterstaff out to try and trip him again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bam! That's a dose. 2 snake eyes.
That was a natural 1. Okay, so
Box's little jig takes me down.
what is your CMD, good sir?
CMD is a 14.
All right, so when you go to trip him with that, he kicks the thing and hits it with the back of his foot, and it ends up knocking you on the ground.
I was headed that way anyway.
So you are now on the ground.
On my way to the ground, I'll just shout, "If you're hungry, we can feed you!"
Make a diplomacy check.
Bam! That's a 21.
Turns around, kicks you in the face. No.
To be expected.
He will hesitate though. And during this hesitation, Adira, what are you doing?
How far exactly is he from me?
5, 10, technically 15 feet.
Okay. Then what I am going to do is suggestion.
All right. Suggestion is an enchantment effect, correct?
Yeah. But she don't know all the rules that I know, so.
Right. Your DC was what? 14?
17.
It's
That
not
says
your
right there.
17? Oh, that's right, because it's got it's a level 3 spell base. All right. So, what are you suggesting to him?
I'm suggesting that he stop running. I can't protect him if he runs.
During that hesitation, he starts ahead again, half a step, but then he'll stop and he'll turn around. Brock, now that he's turned around, the lighting out here is very poor, so the rest of you can't see this as easily. But Brock, now that he's turned around, you can see he does have elven eyes, which lack pupils.
Wait, his eyes lack pupils?
Mm-hmm.
Pathfinder elves do not have pupils. Their entire eye is the color of their eye.
I think D&D elves are also like that, to be fair. I know the Eladrin are. Eladrin? However you say that. High elves.
I mean, technically, they do have sclera, but the iris of their eye is so damn big. The only time you ever see their sclera is if they're looking way off to the side.
Hmm.
But yeah, basically.
Okay, so we've confirmed he's an elf. Or at least I have.
You
Okay,
have
okay.
confirmed that he is an elf.
mean
Box
a whole lot
does
to
not
me.
know. For sure.
He's got a hunch.
So what is Lark doing?
Was spending the entire time kind of circumventing what was going on. In what direction was the kid running? Would he be closer to me or further away from me? I should be at the opposite side.
He would be further away from you now.
Okay, so in that case, I would probably just now that I know that combat is very unlikely to happen, I would probably just make my way normally back to the party.
Okay. You go hang out with your buddy buds there, because they're probably
That's
gonna
right.
go that way. Hey, Foresight. You got another friend?
I don't know what to do. There's people moving around. This involves communication. I'm just gonna stand right over. Yeah, just everyone's over there. I'm just gonna be yeah, not over there. This is nice. With my thoughts.
So that's what you're doing. You're heading the other direction to get out of
Yeah,
there.
yeah, man. I'm with my thoughts. Pretty great.
All right, Riley.
Well, it looks like the kid has stopped running away, so I will just Riley will just head back towards everyone. Maybe block off the kid's path in case he does try to just bolt away from the rest of the party.
Okay. Like that.
But it looks like they have it under control.
Brock. Brug.
I would just kind of approach the kid, just kind of over this way. If I could just kind of, reposition myself next to him, so that way if he tries to run again, I can attempt to stop him again. But I would attempt to do so in a very non-threatening manner.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna get out of this pseudo turn structure, and what is Foresight just gonna sneak away into eternity?
No, he's still near, just not as near as everyone else. Just gonna watch from afar. Someone might need help. Help that I could actually provide.
Brock would look to the group and he would ask, do any of you speak Elvish? He seems to be an elf. He may not know Common if he is on his own.
That's a very good question. Where on Roll20 does it have my languages, Sean?
I think it's page 2.
No, it's at the bottom of your main page.
Oh.
Very bottom.
Bottom left.
No, I do not speak Elvish.
Leaf does.
Yeah, Leaf's an elf. I hope he speaks elf.
Well, I speak Elven.
Elven. Yes, elf is the language of Santa's elves.
There's still a language I didn't choose. I'm not the smart one.
God damn it.
You should just save it until we need it.
Shake the stick of shame at him.
I feel so unsmart right now, you guys.
Pick a language.
But hey, Leaf speaks. Leaf speaks Elven, so that's. Yeah, you can do that.
Do what?
Talk to the kid.
Oh.
Instead of me.
All right, so Leaf, are you then going to conversate with this child? Are you going to stand up? Sorry, let me rephrase that. Are you going to stand up and conversate with this child?
Well, I'll try and return to a kneeling position, but he's like spitting his hair out of his mouth and like wiping the dust off of his chest, and says, "Of course, we could discuss this over some hot food. You're more than welcome to it if you'll just stay and speak for your situation. That seemed like it could have gotten relatively bad with those fellows." In Elven, of course.
Right. He looks at you, and he seems to have a strange look on his face. Go ahead and make a sense motive.
That's a 17.
You feel like he might not entirely understand what you're saying.
I'll try shifting from like dark common to light common, and just is this better? And see if he like reacts to any of that.
The only time he reacted non-confusedly is when you were speaking to him while he was on the ground with dark common.
Okay, so I'll say again, young elven boy, we could discuss this over food. I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation for your theft, and we're certainly not as disgruntled as those fellows back there. I'd like to hear you out potentially over some hot food.
Go ahead and make me a diplomacy check.
Bam, that's an 8. It's a natural 2. The master of disaster.
He looks off to the side and kind of just faintly grunts.
Okay, Brock will actually kneel down next to him then, and he'll say, if we do not understand your situation, we can't protect you from the guards or those men again if we don't understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Make a diplomacy.
This is going to go poorly. No, 15.
He'll grumble. fine.
Sean, how old did you say this kid looked like again?
60.
60-year-old child. Oh yeah, because he's an elf, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but like
uh,
human equivalencies here.
Shit. It's like, I think it's like 10 to 12, somewhere in that range. Probably closer to 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. So he would be, he would act and behave. He would have the maturity of a 10-year-old, and like the rough knowledge of like a 10-year-old, rather than like a 60-year-old.
You can tell that he seems certainly a little more intellectual and mature than a 10-year-old would, but he certainly has the body of a 10-year-old.
Okay.
Running the age equivalencies on the description page, he's about equivalent to like a 12-year-old physically.
Okay,
That's what a
thank you.
60-year-old elf would be.
Then
They
12.
don't like mature super fast, and then I don't know how it works at all. So ignore me.
Thank you for the age equivalency. He is 12. But yeah, he definitely seems a little more world-wise than his physical body.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, I wouldn't say much around him. I would just generally be keeping an eye on him.
Okay.
I would also go back to my cart just to make sure that nobody has stolen anything or have done horrible, unspeakable things to Mozart.
No, Riley went with you,
Hey, I also resent this.
but don't deny it.
That is the phrase.
I honestly, I don't know why we picked Riley to be the fucking...
Every group
weird-
needs one. I totally get it. Don't worry.
I guess because he's the charismatic one, he can convince anything.
To be fair, if it was my character, his head would explode.
You go to inspect the cart. It seems fine. The caravan is starting to take off now, though. So, like, ahead of you, probably about 6 or 7 carts. They're starting to move now.
Okay, so I guess we would probably start heading out then. I would probably run ahead, make sure that old man's all right. He seemed to be carrying quite a lot of stuff for a person of his age and stature. If he needs any help, I'm gonna rush in and sort of like make sure things aren't falling off his cart or anything like that.
His cart looks very well packed. And when you ask him if he needs any help, he's like, "Oh no, Sonny, thank you very much, but I'm all right."
All right. What's bringing you over to Starlight, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I'm on the long road. I'm going around selling my wares, odds and ends.
Oh, so you're a merchant. What do you specialize in?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So you just you're just a general merchant.
I'm a curio man of sorts. I find
curio.
odd little things and sell.
Carrying anything interesting?
Yes, quite a few. If you're in the caravan too, perhaps when we stop for a meal, I can show you. But I think we're about to be off.
I would be interested in that. Thank you, good sir.
Not a problem.
So, may the sun guide your journey.
And the moon yours, Sonny.
And I head back.
So, gathered around this child, what are y'all doing? Adira. Let's go with Adira.
Adira's going to walk up to him and just look at him and be like, I don't think it's going to be safe for you here anymore.
He looks at you,
So those men will have
narrows his eyes.
the men will have the guards after you. Come along.
Do you try and like kind of coax him towards the cart?
She'll put a hand on his shoulder.
Make a touch attack.
A touch attack. Okay. I'm. That's just my BAB, right?
Plus your strength if you have it. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to get
or
this to roll.
dexterity, I think. Because if we have weapon finesse, dexterity will also work.
Yes, that's true. You can use your dex instead.
I can use my dex instead. Okay. Is there not a button for this?
No.
No, I don't think so. It would just
Okay.
be a base, some basic attack.
So, you told me I had buttons for everything.
I didn't. I mean, you don't have a touch attack thing, so
All my spells, no. Some of my spells.
one of
Plus-
them's a ranged touch attack. That's different.
There you go. 5.
Okay. You go to touch him, and he like leans out of the way with ease.
She'll look and be like,
And you have a +2 strength.
do I?
Yeah. So that's a 7, but you still miss. But
Yeah. Look, if you want to stay here and take your chances with the guard, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure those guys are gonna have them after you.
he'll put his knife back in his shirt and go ahead and make me a diplomacy check.
18.
All right. He'll head towards the cart.
So, group, tell me, is this child ours now?
Team mascot.
Well, it seems that he has nowhere else to go. Or else he wouldn't be stealing from the caravan.
He wasn't stealing from the caravan. He stole from 2 random dudes down the street.
I look at him, Sean, like, what level of, like, raggedness does this child look? Because I don't want to be caught in a situation where this kid is just, like, somebody's, like, farmhand that was just, like, out stealing. We are just grabbing him and bringing him to another city.
Yes, these are my thoughts too.
He has a very sort of ramshamble, put together look about his outfit.
I think the question they're trying to ask is, does he look homeless?
Kind of. Like, his clothes are in varying degrees of degradation. None of them fit him properly. The knife he's got isn't in the best condition. It's chipped and broken. His left shoe has a hole in the top.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then is first I'm going to ask him. We are headed to Starlight, child. Do you have anybody waiting for you here that would miss you?
He just looks away from you.
It's a really weird way to word it.
I'm a really weird guy with him.
Is there anyone who would miss you if you happen to suddenly go missing?
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, you said he's got a lot of holes in clothes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
It looks like he probably stole all of his clothes.
okay, that's fair. I'm going to start patching up some of the holes with his permission. Using the tailoring kit. Would he let me do that?
Make me a diplomacy check.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Does my racism apply here?
No.
Okay. 3.
He like curls up into a ball in as far back into the cart as he can get, and like pulls his knife and points it at you.
Okay, fair enough. I will not. I'll not press my luck.
And like he'll turn the knife backwards in his hand and kind of just like wrap his arms around his legs.
Okay. I'll say, well, if you ever want to get those holes patched up, you come see me. And I'm just going to let him be, and I'll let him approach me if he wants to come talk to me.
Okay.
So you said the caravan's moving now, right?
Yes, in fact, just in this moment, the guy ahead of you, his cart starts to move. One of the guards of the caravan comes walking back, and he's just like, "In a moment, come on, get your donkey ready."
Isn't Mozart ready? Aren't we like good to go? I thought we were.
Yeah, you just have to like get up on the thing and actually have him go.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I would probably do that. I should probably be walking for the first little while.
All right, leading him
walking
on.
alongside. Yeah.
Okay. Who all
Until I get
is in
tired,
the
then I'll
thing?
sit down and switch with somebody.
Okay. Who all is in the cart? Other than Brett.
I would be sitting on the back of the cart.
Okay. And that's the back.
I am wearing my traveling clothes, by the way.
Okay.
Adira will stay near the child.
All right.
I would assume that we're moving at a speed at which you could walk beside, since I wouldn't
Yes,
think
you
everyone's
could.
in a car. Then yeah, I would just walk.
All right. What about Leaf and Riley?
I think Box would be walking beside the cart, and Leaf would be in the cart, maybe sitting at the back, just trying to talk to the kid and see if I can get him to open up about his situation a little bit.
All right. And Riley.
Well, conveniently, Riley wanted to walk towards the front of the cart where Foresight already seems to be walking. So Riley will stride over to Foresight's side, and as he's passing the side of the cart with the child on it, he'll just say aloud for the child in Dark Common that, I certainly hope you don't mind a bit of adventure, because it seems you're tagging along with us anyways.
You guys realize this child probably suspects we're trying to traffic him, right?
Maybe. Which I will be helping Leaf in the back, trying to get this child to open up.
Traffic him to a hot meal and a happy home.
And yet somehow my suspicions aren't alleviated. Strange.
Okay, so Brock, go ahead and roll me diplomacy to aid, and Leaf, go ahead and roll me a diplomacy.
14.
All right, Brock aids.
24.
Damn. So that is a 26 total. So what do you say to this kid? What do you want him, like, what are you trying to tell him?
So it occurs to me that I don't have food in my inventory. I don't imagine we would have had an opportunity to like snag some trail rations on the way out, would we?
There's some in my backpack on the carts. If you mention that you're looking for food, you can dig in there and find it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I have some on me as well.
Oh, that works.
Okay, so well, I'll just start and say, well, I promised you some food, and I'll start like rummaging through my pack, and it seems my pack is empty. I was actually planning on gathering some fresh ingredients while we were on the road and making a meal whenever we stopped. And he'll just kind of turn to anyone else who's sitting on the cart and say, I don't imagine you've any rations or snacks of a sort on you.
Brock would reach into his bag and pull his ration out, hold it out to the kid, and he would be like, I have something. It is not hot or fresh, but it is food.
And I did promise hot, but that may have to wait until we make our first stop on the caravan, if you're okay with that. And just kind of like eyeball him for any kind of recognition of what he's saying.
What, you mean you can't just cast Produce Flame on it?
Oh no.
But he'll like look up, he'll look between both of you, and he'll like reach out really quickly to try and grab it. And you notice that like the way he grabs it from your hand, Brock, like you almost like don't notice it leave. Like there's very little friction from it moving. Like there's just an enough like of a dispersion of weight as it leaves. If you weren't watching it, you may not have fully noticed that it had gone. Except
Did
for
you try to
perhaps
sleight of hand this thing out from in front of me?
Practice makes perfect.
You can tell that he's very skilled with his hands.
Okay. Offer the kid something and he tries to steal it from me.
But does he acknowledge like anything that I'm saying? As we're just kind of like casually talking.
He put his knife away and he started to eat, and he's like looking at you, which is kind of hard to tell, but you're an elf, you can tell.
Okay, well, I'll just kind of lean forward a little bit and see if I can bring myself closer to like his eye level, even if he's focused on the snack or whatever. And I'll say, so I can't imagine a boy like you would just be running amongst the caravans just randomly. Do you have family that works amongst the caravans? Are you staying with someone in the city?
At your mention of family, you see his face kind of drop hard for a second, and then he just shakes his head.
Okay, well, Even some of the most unfortunate circumstances can be a blessing in disguise, as it seems you've stumbled upon quite the philanthropic group of individuals. If you don't mind keeping us company, we can keep you fed, and then should you decide you no longer enjoy our pleasantries, you're more than welcome to take off at any point. But I do promise that we are an interesting bunch, and you might be able to find ways to keep yourself occupied, assuming you can keep the knife out of any of our friends here.
He gives you like a very small, short nod.
What's the name of the city that we're headed to?
Starlight.
Okay, and just say, we're actually on a trip on behalf of a church, and we're fetching, what was it, lumber?
Yes.
We're fetching lumber on behalf of the Church of Abadar. My brother runs the chapel there. Should you be interested in our return, I might be able to find you work there. It's practically like having a second family. What do you think of that?
He has this look on his face. It's fairly deadpan, but there's just a little bit. There's this look in his eye that you can't quite place. Make a sense motive check.
Sense motive. 20.
Every time you mention the church, and not even like before you say Abadar, like just when you said the church and chapel and getting a job and stuff, like there's just this flash, this like very dull flash of discontentment and like very untrusting, skeptical look in his eye.
Or perhaps not for the time being. Anywho, since you seem to be traveling with us for now, would you be interested in potentially putting in, perhaps helping us haul some supplies as we travel? We certainly won't charge you any room or board, and you can stay with us.
He shrugs.
We could use another set of hands, and you might be able to learn a useful trade or something that you can put to use elsewhere.
Oh, he knows a useful trade.
An honest trade.
There you go. He doesn't give much of a response to this, really. He just puts some more food in his mouth.
Then, last shot. Perhaps we started on the wrong foot. My name's Leaf. What's your name?
Go ahead and roll me a final diplomacy.
Bam! That's a 9.
You said you holded your hand out to him? You held your hand out to him?
Just now?
Yeah. Did I imagine that?
You may have.
Okay.
Was he gonna stab me? The kid
No,
hates.
he wasn't gonna stab you.
The kid hates family,
What's your name,
churches,
Stab?
and hands.
You would know when you were mentioning his family, it was not like the malcontent kind of look. It was very like
A wince of pain.
Yeah, basically. But he'll mumble something under his breath. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
I'll use my elven ears. That's a 14.
14. Okay, so even with the rain, you're leaned towards him as he mumbles this. He's just like, call me Rat.
Rat. We actually just helped a tavern clear a batch of those out. But I must say, you look much friendlier than the ones we dealt with back then.
Does he?
You know, it could be a lie. Whatever. Leaf's not above that.
He hasn't attacked any of us yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
He doesn't look very amused.
well, welcome to, oh gosh, what was the name that we settled on for our bunch?
Riley Moorheim's company.
Welcome to Riley Moorheim's company. Again, I'm Leaf. behind you is my leafy companion Box, and then I'll kind of like gesture at the other two, expectingly, like, introduce yourself.
Brock would hold out his hand to shake hands. He's probably going to get stabbed for it, but he'll hold out his hand and he'll be like, "I am Brock. It is very pleasant to meet you."
Make a diplomacy.
Yep, here's where I get stabbed. 18.
He like lightly for like half a second, like grabs your hand and shakes it and pulls his hand back.
Good enough for me.
You're now like missing a glove.
My sepsis is gone.
I am a dear little one. So long as I have breath, nobody will hurt you.
I would make one request of you, though. It would be much appreciated if you did not steal from us.
He doesn't say anything.
Well, certainly, anything openly requested would be offered freely. So if you've need of anything, don't be afraid to ask.
He goes about eating. He was very silent for a moment at Adira's input, but he goes back to eating when you're like, "Hey, don't steal from us. We'll give you what you want, just don't steal."
So certainly amongst the lot of us, we can keep you fed, and between Adira's blood oath just now, she can certainly keep you protected should any foul forces come across us in our journeys. Is there anything in particular you'd like in our travels? I've trinkets stored on box, but you seem you might be getting a little old for that type of thing. Adventure.
He pulls his knife back out, and he like stares at it for a second, uses it to cut a piece of like dried meat.
I'm starting to feel like we've just adopted like a living Chucky doll.
He uses it to cut a bit of the dried meat.
I was just gonna say that's probably the creepiest response to that question. What would you like to do? Pulls out knife, cuts meat, eats it, stares at knife.
Yeah, you can tell he has a hard time cutting. The knife seems to actually be very, very shitty.
Like damaged, or just it was poor quality to begin with, or both.
It's certainly damaged. It is not a fresh blade by any means. It is very worn. The tip's broken off. There's a big ass chip in it, probably. It's hard to see in the light, but it's probably got a crack where that chip is as
Could
well.
I try a sense motive to see if he's continuing to dodge questions, or if that was like an answer of like, I want a better knife?
Sure, certainly.
22.
He wants a better knife.
I would look over to Leaf and I would say I feel he is dissatisfied with his cutting and stabbing instrument.
Well,
Of course, the tip's broken off. It's really hard to stab with.
well, I can certainly see the point there. As a, I didn't even realize the pun. Shame on me.
This entire conversation is pointless.
Brock would let out a sigh.
I can certainly see the point there, but only the finest equipment suitable for someone of Riley Morheim's adventuring company. So we can see about potentially getting something nicer for the long term. But in the short term, my companion here is actually quite skilled at magically repairing any type of trinket or bauble. Maybe if you asked him politely, he might offer to fix it for you.
Foresight, make a perception check.
All right. I was hoping to not get noticed. You bitch.
Oh no.
Come on, man.
So, like, you feel this weird feeling on the back of your neck. And, like, you turn your head around, and, like, the flap on the side of the thing is just open just a little bit. And there's, like, you've got dark vision. So, all you can see is, like, this slit. There's this eye peering out
It's like
at
a
you.
child holding a knife.
Like, directly at you. It's unnerving.
He'll sigh and be like kind of struggle to walk and get onto the wagon so he can get back there because he needs to sit down to cast. Just, like, extend the hand out for the knight. Like, okay, I need to see it to.
That is the immediate place Foresight wants to
Speak
be,
his name
right?
and he shall appear. Welcome to the wagon.
Wants to be is an interesting way to say that.
Right in the middle of everybody.
Oh man, it's getting crowded.
No.
Box want to play.
Yeah, throw the tree on top.
Oh.
Perfect.
Oh. Oh, it's uncomfortable.
I think this is gonna start breaking.
I feel like Mozart's probably going to start struggling here in a second.
I feel like Box is probably the heaviest member
I
of the
think I've
party.
got him at 200 pounds-ish. In a couple levels, he's definitely going to bulk up.
Is he going to get large?
Alright. I'm gonna start chanting.
Go up to 1,600 pounds.
10 minutes of chanting.
Adira will watch all this with slight amusement for a moment, and then she will look at the boy and be like, "This is a caravan. It's full of merchants," and hand him 2 gold.
He will take the gold. And you see, like, as soon as he palms it, it's gone. It's fucking
Yeah.
in his clothes.
She'd be like,
somewhere.
"Now go buy yourself a new knife."
He will. Let's see. He will roll, squeeze by, get out of there. Everybody notices him.
Yeah, he's got to
Probably.
crawl over all of us.
I kind of just imagine he jumps on the cart and forgets that we're actively moving. Stump is first. Alright.
No, he's fine. He hits the ground.
Well, I hope he hits the ground. That'd be a problem if he didn't.
He's now a floating
He
child.
jumps out, just starts flying away. He'll head forward, very quickly up through the caravan. Okay. He will return. He looks upset. He looks very upset, but he has a new dagger, a shiny new dagger.
And 10 gold.
No.
No, I feel like that 1 and that
No.
2 were probably him trying to steal stuff.
Yeah, no extra, no freebies for him. And you'll notice that there's another guard, like, comes back, and it's just, like, hanging around the cart.
Looks like your shopping trip was a success. Who did you wind up purchasing from?
Make a diplomacy check.
The 13.
He just kind of grumbles.
Oh, I didn't see a card out there labeled Murgle
At this point, y'all pass through the front gates of the city. The rumbling of cobblestone beneath the wheels fades away, and there's more of a sound of mud. He doesn't really answer your question. He just grumbled and looked unamused when you tried to turn it into a joke.
He's ready for more of that.
Are you just gonna try and make him laugh?
Leaf don't tolerate no sass.
Please don't tolerate no sass. What about Sarsaparilla?
Acceptable.
After noticing the other guard that's kind of sticking near us closer after he returned, Brock would look down, at the knife, and he would go, You did buy that, right?"
He grumbles again and nods.
It is good. Hopefully you will no longer need to steal now that we can provide for you.
He's like, I have a very particular set of skills. He remains very quiet. He goes back into his kind of like curled up sitting position, which unlike the rest of you, he doesn't have one of those rainproof cloaks. So he's very sodden. Lark, once you leave town and you're out in the mud, do you get back on the cart? Do you like get in the driver's thing, or?
I mean, somebody needs to lead the donkey, so I mean, it probably goes better leading the donkey than just being in the back and like poking it along with a prod, so I'll lead it forward. I have traveling boots on. I've got traveling wear. I'm not afraid of getting a little bit dirty with some mud.
All right.
Well, Adira will take her cloak off and take it over to the child.
Okay. You try to put it on
Well,
him.
she's going to hand it to him. He obviously didn't like her getting too close.
It vanishes.
What?
Disappears into his clothes.
Sean.
Wait. Is this kid a bag of holding? Is that what's going on?
I think so.
He's a living bag of holding.
He just opens his mouth and shoves it in.
Man, that would be great.
I got devouring.
This is the best kidnapping.
Wait, don't you have to turn a bag of holding out, like inside out, to get all the stuff out of it?
Well,
No, you just have to think of the item you want when you reach into it.
Only if you know it's in there.
Either
Yes.
way, the kid doesn't like that.
and if we stab him, it all comes out, so it's great.
A pinata of holding.
Yo, I'd buy it.
All right, so y'all travel out of town. After a few hours of traveling, the caravan will come to a halt, so that everybody can break down for a meal and rest their animals, rest themselves, put together food, do whatever needs to be done, do some cross-selling if needed.
I'd like to take some time whenever we get a break to try and forage a little bit. See if I can grab some kind of like fresh
All right.
ingredients for a pit stop.
Okay, go ahead and make a survival check, or if you have something that's more
Survival.
appropriate.
That's a natural one. But it's a 10.
You gather enough to feed yourself.
Oh, that's unfortunate. How much time did that take?
I believe it takes an hour.
Yeah, I was looking at the skill page for survival earlier in preparation of this specific check, not knowing I was going to roll a natural one, of course, and I didn't see for finding tracks 1 hour, so it doesn't really mention, but we can say an hour. That's cool. So could I potentially retry that, like go foraging deeper?
You can retry it. It does take more time, though. You would have to wait until dinner, most likely, because you're gonna get back and like have enough time to eat whatever people happen to have, and then you're gonna be back on the road.
Okay. That does not seem reasonable. So I will go ahead and cook what I've got, and I'll offer half of it to the kid, assuming it needs to be
Okay.
cooked. I'm not sure what type
You-
of foraging we're doing out here.
You know all the commonly poisonous shit, so you don't get any like poison mushrooms or something. But I imagine that's probably what you find is some sort of edible fungus, which would probably go better cooked.
Yeah. So I'll try and like stretch it with, like some extra like water, or I'll put like a quarter bundle of lemongrass in it and see if I can kind of get what little I've found to go a little bit farther. And I bust out my cooking kit and offer it to anybody who's on the cart, making sure that the rat gets first dibs.
Okay. So go ahead and make me another survival or appropriate check to cook.
Okay, if survival works, I'll do survival. That's a 28. It's delicious.
It is delicious. Despite being mostly water, it does taste good. It's a earthy, lemony soup. It's filling, but it's not really filling for long. So anybody who wants that, Rat will take some.
Well, he only got enough for himself, so it doesn't seem like it would be nice to take.
Well, he tried to expand it with water. That's why it's not like filling for very long. So I'd say probably about 2 more people can have some of the soup. It's better than nothing. I don't know if there's anybody else who is devoid of having food.
Yeah, I think on future days I'm gonna prepare Good Berry as a first level spell, just to kind of stretch whatever food we've got. Just kind of noting
Okay.
that now.
Good Berry's the healing one. I think you want abstemiousness.
No, I think Goodberry counts as a meal.
Oh, does it? Okay.
How desperate is everybody for food? Because I mean, I loaded up on food for myself.
No, I would just eat one of my own rations.
That's like I bought a bunch of rations. I have 17 trail rations.
I've got a week's worth, so I'm okay for now.
Likewise.
While we're stopped, though, I would be looking for a large rock. Or not large, just above fist-size rock.
They're good eating, I hear.
Okay.
Rock soup.
They're easy enough to find.
Okay.
Find a muddy rock.
Then I would grab a rock and just kind of, while we're doing nothing, he would just be sculpting on the rock.
Okay. Is that part of your powers, or are you actually just...
No, I just have a craft skill, and it just seems like something he would do to pass the time.
Okay. Go ahead and make a craft. Is there any kind of target thing you're going for?
Probably just some kind of like little figure. Maybe have some kind of small religious significance, but nothing too overt.
Beyblade.
Yeah,
A fairly crude...
Beyblade. Yeah, I like that.
Let it rip!
Functioning Beyblade.
Functioning Beyblade's gonna take you a little...
Nah, it would probably just be like a little figure, maybe like something significant to Desna, like a little, trinket for like travel or something.
Dreidel, I made you out of stone?
Succeed in making that, and after a couple of hours, you chip away at the stone and make a crude little figurine.
Okay.
Looking back, I knew that there was something that I neglected. Rations was that thing. Rations was that thing.
So do you want a serving of thin soup?
That would probably be preferable to nothing. Although I do believe...
Usually something is better than nothing.
Well, sometimes something is much, much worse.
Depends on what the something is.
Like bolts to the head, for example.
Hello, everybody. We're playing Soup Sharing Simulator
Cooking Mama.
today.
I love Soup Finder.
I do believe with good berry, you roll 2d4 to know how many berries you have, and like each berry is good for 24 hours.
That's good for a full meal.
That's what I mean.
Okay. So Leaf goes out to forage. Is anybody else doing anything other than eating at this time?
Riley, if possible, would like to hang out with some of the guards if they're around and open to it.
Yeah, they're around. They're not opposed to company. They're not especially talkative.
That's okay. I'm especially talkative for all of us.
I would also be part of this socializing.
Yes, you are.
Perfect.
Okay. Just in general, both of y'all give me diplomacy checks, and no, Lark, you don't take your penalty.
No racism penalty.
You're not trying to gather information.
12 on my diplomacy.
9 on Riley's.
Strangely enough, they seem to like Lark better than you.
How dare you?
Like, like Riley's over there hanging out with this one guard, and he's just like, yeah, that sounds cool, And like, meanwhile, Lark's over there, and like with 2 other guards, and they bust out laughing and at something he said, and are like clapping him on the back a little bit.
You know what? This is okay as long as everyone's having a good time. I will also appreciate Lark more than my company.
Who are we speaking to, by the way?
A couple of guards, and hold on, now I do have to put the cat out.
Oh, Caravan Cat, come back.
Patches done got in trouble. Come here, Caravan Kitty. I know, you're mistreated. Dad threw you out. Poor kitty. You want to go up here and lay down and be good? No? Okay.
Yeah, like I figured we were talking to guards. You had mentioned that originally, but I mean, like now that we've been talking to them, what do we know about them?
What do you want to know? Like, what would you have conversated?
I don't know. I just want to get a general sense. Who are these guys? Where are they going?
They, they work for the Westwind Caravan. They do this for pay, because it does pay well. You gather that there's, for this part, I am treating it as if you made a 9, because this would be gathering information. But, so they work here. They mostly do it for the pay. Like they don't open up a whole lot to you. You feel like they probably, every time they go out on one of these trips, they deal with dozens, if not hundreds of people. And so they don't get too attached, probably.
Sorry. Can I get an impression of how well combat trained they are?
You can give me a sense motive.
I can try to give you a sense motive.
You can try.
2.
Which way should I go with this? You feel like some of them are like probably a little more grizzled, like fucking masters of warfare, while you feel like other ones are probably like just dudes in armor.
All right, sounds good.
Because you got a 2. You rolled a 1.
The rolls are not loving Riley tonight.
It happens.
They're not.
What can you tell us about how dangerous this road normally is? Again, I effectively rolled a 9 here, but I imagine they'd be able to share some information.
Right, like this would be simple information. They tell you that aside from the odd smartass thinking that they can sneak in and sneak out, getting away with something, things that are normally worried about most are like bandit groups, the occasional giant, and generally robbers of the sort. Not a whole lot of monstrous problems. Like they mention giants, but like it's practically in passing. Mostly this like things are smooth sailing. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, it's a pain in the ass.
No, well, that's fair.
Say it's more often than we've got a tree in the road than anything threatening.
Well, I would just spend the rest of my time just generally conversing with these guards, striking up a friendship, getting on spoken terms. Do they have names?
Damn, I was gonna say a couple of names, but those are actual people in this game. Shit.
Do it anyways, it's funny.
They can have duplicate names.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do it this way. Their names are Vix and Wedge. They're brothers. They're Vix and Wedge Dooley.
All right, sounds good. Okay, that's good. So yeah, just conversing it with them, and yeah, basically, for the better part of the week, I'm just going to be sort of like going around, offering a helping hand when I can, talking with other people in the caravan. If I notice that people have particularly frayed clothes, just sort of like offer to patch it up for them, no cost added. Yeah, just generally being nice and getting people in the caravan to like me, and also just hearing people's stories in the caravan. That's my weekly plan, more or less. And yeah, if as far as orphan or adopted orphan, I'm not going to approach him, but if he ever does approach me, I'll be very nice to him, and my offer to patch up his stuff always stands.
You have to make many perception checks to see if he approaches you, and many more to see what he takes. No, I'm kidding. All right. So, is anybody else doing anything in particular?
Just spend my time foraging anytime we have any downtime, or like if we're in the cart and like actually moving, I'm just keeping an eye out on the side of the road. Ooh, I see some mushrooms, and he'll like hop out and sprint over and snatch them up and then run back.
All right. Go ahead and give me two of those survival checks.
So that's what he's focused on, is just keeping everybody fed and taken care of. So that's another natural one, and which accounts for a 10, and then a 15.
So you're not having a lot of luck. You feel like either a lot of people come through here, or maybe that the rains are just making it really poor hunting ground for these things that you would know to eat. On the third day, if nobody has anything else in particular, on the third day of travel, I need everybody to make a perception check. Leaf got a 12. Lark got a
critical
8.
failure specifically. Oh yeah, no critical failure skills. That's right.
Yeah, not on skills. Riley got a 19. Brock got a 12, and Adira got a 17, and Foresight got a very average 10. All right, so Riley,
Yes.
You're ka-chunking along.
As I'm apt to do, yes.
You're ka-chunking along, and you notice a strange, like, alteration to the sound nearby. Like the rain is being disrupted slightly, and you look up into the air. The lights from the caravan just barely making any form of illumination. But it's not the lights from the caravan that aid you, but rather the moon hanging high overhead. as the figure of a giant bird coasts over. And you notice that it starts to dip and head towards the caravan.
Well, immediate response is a very sharp whistle to get everyone's attention who's around me, and then point to the skies as the creature swoops down.
Oh no.
It's a bird.
It's a plane!
I'm not doing this.
Is it President Superman?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. We'll have to ask Tim.
So are the rest of us able to see it if we look up at his...
Wait, Troy?
Yes.
I have an important question. What
Okay.
issue was it where Superman became president?
What issue was it? Oh. That's probably like... I think that was later in the run, so probably like 783, 784, somewhere in there. Right after he was granted the presidency after he flew inside of a black hole and gave a very detailed explanation of what was inside and came out, and they were like, "Wow, you figured that out. You deserve to be president."
As is tradition.
And there we go. That's what we were going for.
Rocks fall, rocks dies.
Rock is a rock. You can't die from falling rock.
It's a bigger, harder rock that falls. Well, Tim has not yet responded as to whether it is President Superman, but I'm going to go with no.
Well, Tim doesn't write the canon on that anyway. Chris does.
You're right. I'm not asking Chris. He'll say yes. Well, to be fair, Tim might say yes. No. This thing swoops down. Go ahead and make me additional perception checks now that you have all potentially noticed it.
13.
21.
Damn, Madeira.
Lark rolled a 16.
An 11 for Leaf.
What about that Riley?
Oh, I get another one too. All right. 10.
Was this
Solid
just to see
10.
Something else. That's very average. How average?
He's already seen it. He doesn't care anymore. He's like, I've seen this.
Over and done.
All right, so Adira, you would notice that this owl swoops down, and you'd notice that it is indeed an owl, a giant owl.
Okay.
And it swoops back up, but something has left it. There was something on its back you didn't realize until it swooped back up. But something has jumped off this thing's back into the caravan ahead.
I didn't notice anything jumping off the back, right?
I'm
No.
going to who are the two nearest to me?
I believe I am sitting next to you, and I think Wraith is also there.
Yeah, Brock and Leaf.
Well, then I will grab the two grown men and be like, "Come on, something's going on up here," and take off that direction.
Okay.
Brock will hop off and struggle to run behind as he has short legs.
I'm just looking at the owl. The owl, is it flying off now? Is it going away? Is it like hovering?
Yeah, it's flying up, kind of at a slight angle. It's ascending again.
I'll say, where are we going?
There was something on its back that jumped off further up the caravan.
Ah, all right. I'll follow. But Sean, I'm going to be following, but I'm not going to be going like directly with the party. I'm kind of like jumping off into the woods, and I'm going to be flanking off whatever it is. I'm probably going to be getting there later than the party, but my goal is to get there sort of unseen and in flanking position.
All right. So do you want to like run part of the way and then start stealthing?
No, because I haven't seen it. I don't know where it got off. So
Okay. So you head up that way. Is Riley, Foresight, and Leaf
Well,
going?
Riley has to run off to help. This is something he's very well motivated to do in case of suspicious activities. So he's already yelling out for anyone who's staying behind to watch the cart as he rushes with the other three.
Oh, well, I was going to go, but this cart's not going to watch itself, I think.
Just leave Box behind. He can watch it. And the totally trustworthy young man.
I'd watch that sitcom. I'm good for it.
Fox and Rat. Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and go. Someone might be hurt.
Leaf, you?
I think I am going to draw my short bow and, just knock an arrow. And I'm real well. If Rat's already taken care of, then I'm gonna start moving to with the rest of the group to investigate.
All right. So down here. You gonna leave Box, or you
Yeah,
gonna have him come with you?
let's assume if I don't say otherwise that Box comes with me.
Okay. Is there an evil smiley icon I can put on this guy?
An evil smiling icon. Is it to let us know he's bad?
A monocle and a goatee.
No. I was just trying to be a smartass with Rat. Okay. So y'all run off. Shouts to somebody watch the cart being ignored.
That's okay. We have insurance.
It's okay. We have insurance. Yeah, I guess it's true. Y'all run forward into the darkness, and then back into the light, and then back into the darkness, and then back into the light, because the lights are, on the carts. And you run forward, and that's where we're gonna call break.
How dramatic.
How dramatic. That's it for this week, folks. I want to thank our patrons, Robin Mims, Tim Demuse, and Brian Wraith, for all their support and for being awesome people. Check the episode description for a link to our Patreon if you would like to join this list and to help support the show. You can also find our Twitter and contact email in the description as well. There are a lot of people who have helped us on our journey to poddom, and I'd like to shout some of them out, many of whom hang out with us in our Discord. The Hideous Laughter Podcast, Fillmore's Crossing Podcast, aka D&D LCP, Wheel or Woe Podcast, Hex Grid Heroes Podcast, The Roaring Trainers Podcast, the Within the Waves Podcast, the Podcast for the Untimely Dead, and ActionForge on YouTube. You can find links to their Twitters and short descriptions in the episode description. And thank you very much for listening. See you later.